Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about Dr. Henry Wu, specifically what happened to the man after the events of the original Jurassic Park. When Dennis Nedry attempted to steal dinosaur embryos in 1993, it set off a chain reaction of terrible events that led to the implosion of Hammond's dream. And while Henry Wu wasn't exactly present for all of those events, they still had a massive impact on his life. Being one of the employees that left Isla Nublar on the last boat, Wu escaped Jurassic Park while his fellow peers, Arnold, Muldoon, InGen lawyer Donald Gennaro, and even Nedry himself died. But this escape came with a terrible price, and that was the sad truth that the geneticist would never get to work another day at the Isla Nublar resort, a place where his work was always encouraged and congratulated by the company's CEO, John Hammond. After the infamous InGen incident, Wu would return to the island in late 1994, where he would assist in the Nublar cleanup that was being carried out by the company. His work included cataloging specimen numbers and figuring out how the dinosaurs were breeding. It was here where he learned that Dr. Malcolm's warnings were right, and that his splicing of the dinosaur's DNA with that of the common reed frogs resulted in a chemical trigger that disintegrated the female organs in order to create male reproductive systems. This event fascinated Henry Wu and inspired him to write a book on his findings. He called it The Next Step, an evolution of God's concepts. In those pages, he included a theory that claimed that if he was given the right tools and research, he could bring brand new species to life through genetic science. Much like selective breeding within domestic animals, he writes, but with this, we would be combining several species into one new animal. Today's technological limitation means we are decades away from achieving this, maybe even 50 years away. But who knows? Hopefully, in my lifetime, we could see it become a reality.
Scientific and technological advancement is accelerating at an exponential rate. We reinvent ourselves every cycle. That's what being tomorrow today is.
By May of 1997, Dr. Wu and his research team had successfully combined several species of plant life for a brand new flower. He called it Keratosis wutanus, or the Wu flower for short. Unfortunately, his company would fall into turmoil once again when a rampaging tyrannosaur would break out on the InGen vessel, the SS Venture, in San Diego. This, of course, drew more media attention than anything else in the world at the time. But luckily for Wu, Simon Masrani would become impressed with the Wu flower, and he would later take an interest in the geneticist after acquiring InGen when Hammond died. The billionaire would quickly promote Wu up and through the ranks of InGen in the years that followed, and in December of 2000, he officially brought him on to what would become the Jurassic World project. However, 1 year before those events went down, Dr. Wu would become entangled in some more shady work, to say the least. After the Ethical Negligence Within Paleogenetic Resurrection Bill was passed, or the Gene Guard Act for short, it became illegal to clone any new species of dinosaur. But that wouldn't stop a young, ambitious Wu from continuing his work. In 1999, the geneticist would make his way to Isla Sorna in what would become an illegal cloning experiment that was never meant for the outside world to know about. It is here where Wu would help clone several new species of dinosaur that higher-ups in the company believed needed to be prepared for the imminent resurrection of the Jurassic Park project. With the increasing amount of die-offs on the island due to poaching and other various means, the board would eventually be able to convince Masrani to move many assets on Site B over to the Nublar Island. But before that took place, Wu would help them create new attractions for their theme park. One such attraction was deemed a horrible accident that had unfortunately gone wrong for the man. This creature was left alone and abandoned on the island when Wu and the others shipped out. However, despite this failure having taken place for Henry on Isla Sorna, a genetic breakthrough would soon come to him in August of 2000, with an intercepted email from the scientist stating the following: "Technology never ceases to amaze me. Just a decade ago, no one had believed we'd hold the technology we use today. Moore's Law is thriving. Our researchers in San Diego, Bridges and Curtis, have given me the news that our prototype iron analyzer read into our recently uncovered fossilized mosasaur skeleton and has shown signs of traceable DNA fragments. Whilst it is still much too early to tell, I believe this may be our only means to recreating aquatic life in the absence of Chilicodae."
Programmable life is not the way of the future. It's what we do here every day. Nature's been cloning organisms for hundreds of millions of years. Compare the ancient abacus to today's supercomputers. That's how far InGen has progressed in the field of genetics.
Things continued to improve for Henry Wu in the following decade, and in 2014, the man became assigned to what would ultimately be named the Martel Facility. This was a Siberian outpost that was designed to mine dead animals from the Cenozoic era in order to complete Wu's wider genomic library. The expedition and research at the station proved fruitful for the geneticist, who would ultimately discover several highly preserved carcasses during this time. It was also around this time that Wu's dream of combining the DNA of different animal species in order to create a new life form would come true. In the early 2010s, Wu's creation of the Indominus Rex was an event that would spark renewed interest in the Jurassic World brand, and it was the result of years of dedicated research, time, and commitment being given to his talent and passion.
We're approaching 100% genome accuracy in dozens of species. And this is just step one in what we do.
His proud work would continue well into 2015, where Wu would write an entry in a scientific journal stating his mission to provide assistance to the research in human diseases. It is probably no surprise to some that we intend on using InGen's accumulated knowledge for healthcare. With today's technology, we've now been able to read non-coded DNA and trace the sequences back to various ancient diseases, kind of like walking backwards through the snow, a biological footprint as it were. This unprecedented work gives us a glimpse into the history of various epidemics known on Earth. Unfortunately for Wu, Masrani's displeasure with the fatalities that resulted in the Indominus Rex project would remove Dr. Wu from further research. And this time, John Hammond wouldn't be here to stop anyone from holding Wu accountable for the damage that he'd done. After losing much of his progress in 1993, Wu would again be forced out of his own place of work and find himself in deep trouble. What followed were the ending events of Jurassic World and all of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, where the man can be seen still trying to create new life forms in the face of all of the hurt that he's caused. In my opinion, Dr. Wu's history is one of the most fascinating aspects of the entire Jurassic series. Much of what his character has evolved into has come from Michael Crichton's initial Jurassic Park novel, which gives a far different interpretation of the man compared to the one that we see casually smiling in the 1993 movie. Henry Wu is a complex human being, and he's a man who's always exhibiting extreme ambition with his work. And he's someone that I think genuinely cares about what he's doing scientifically. It's hard for me to call the man an outright villain when he's no doubt associating himself with villainous people. And that's mainly because I think if I had to describe the Doctor truthfully, I'd probably call him more of a desperate artist. He reminds me of someone like Icarus, a man who flies too close to the sun in spite of what it will inevitably do to his wings. Anyways, that's all we really have on Dr. Wu at this point in time. So with that being said, I'd love to know what all of you guys think. Are you a fan of this Jurassic Park character, or do you not like what he's become? Personally, I think the Colin Trevorrow development is leagues better than the borderline cameo that the man was given in the first movie. And the expansion that he's brought to the newer films is closer in line with the actual source material than what came before. But those are all just my own thoughts. Whatever you personally think about the character, I'd love to hear it in the comments down below. Now before I go, I want to thank all of my game wardens like Adam Johnson and Will Bird, as well as all of my InGen executives like Kyle Rowley. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Christina Ham, Odie, Monsterman Alex, Dinobot65, Dwayne Boisclair, Frederick Lindstrom, Adam Bedora, Aaron G, and Jimmy Schultz. It really means the world to me that all of you guys continue to watch these videos and support what I do. I never want any of you to forget that. Now, I'd like to thank all of you for watching today's video and hope you all had fun. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.